Hi, welcome to my channel Scrap and Rabbit. This is Christine. Today I want to show you this book or mini album that I made to hold my ephemera for junk journals that I make. It's a great way to organize all your bits and pieces. If you're like me, you've got them all over the place. So I decided I wanted to sort them by topic, and I made this this album. It's like a folder to keep all of the individual pieces in. This is made from 5.5 pieces of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, and it's basically just a pocket album. And there are videos online for how to make these, but I took this a little step further because it's a very simple binding. Each section is attached to each other, and the covers are basically the front and the back sections. And I made it so that where the pages are joined, instead of being glued together, I turn them into pockets, so that gives that extra storage area. And then also I added some fold outs for also some more room for storing stuff. So let me take you through it. I'm going to show you in this video step by step how to make one of these if you want to give it a try. So on the front I have a title, I just called it ephemera, and I show you in the tutorial how I went about embellishing all of this. The spine is made with duct tape, and there's the back, and I just used some seam binding to attach it. And this opens like that. Now I think I'm going to have to make a couple of these because I've got so much ephemera, and these are mostly all images that I've collected over the years. And I just have too many. So for example, I was planning on using one page for each topic, but in this flowers section I've got so many, and I haven't even finished going through all of them, and I'm using up 2 sections, and I might need some more. So I might need an actual mini book just for the floral section. But I'll show you what I've got so far. These were all these images that I cut, and that way if I want to make a junk journal based on florals, I can just go to this section and pull out what I've stored. I've got some music paper in here and some die cuts. Now this is a fold out. It's plastic so you can see through it, and this is for holding those little bits that you don't want to lose. And these pockets can be used for larger images or storing bigger items. Like I have this doily here that I thought would look nice in a journal that's flower themed. Some more music paper, and I've got some little mini envelopes. And then in this section I've got some more little knickknacks stored away in there. So there's lots of room for organizing stuff. But like I said, I've got so much of this ephemera that I'm going to have to make myself a few more of these. This section, again, this is travel related, so I'm going to need a book just for that one because I've got so many titles and tags in my scrapbook collection that I haven't even gone through yet. These are just a few images. And then I collected some of this book paper that was travel themed. And then this side here, this is related to home, love, and whatnot. And what these sheets are is I found a set of tarot cards. And each card, the set comes with the card, and each card also comes with the interpretation. So for example, here's the heart card, and I had this interpretation that I clipped from the book, so that would look kind of cool in a journal. So I kept those. And then in here I had some book paper that I stored back there, and I've got room for more stuff here. And on this page I've got children related images, and I've got some cutouts here, caricatures. And then on this side my fold out is an envelope, and this one is pictures of vintage ladies, and I've got some more stuff tucked away in here. So you can use these one section per topic, and this one was about superstitions. I've got the cloverleaf broken mirror, and these are the tarot cards that go with it. And then I've got animals, lots of animals, so I might need a separate book for that too. And I've got beautiful vintage style pictures on here. And there's a little pocket so you can see everything, and it holds the small items. And then on this side, this was just different old scenes, farms and buildings. And I just tucked the smaller pieces in an envelope and put that in here. And this was related to the elements. I've got the sun, the moon, lightning, and again, these are the tarot cards, so I haven't sorted everything related to this yet. And I've got some more sheets of paper up there. And then here's the back. So I'm going to take you through how to make one of these. Let's get started. I need one sheet of 12 by 12 paper for each section of the album. And also I'm going to use these plastic page protectors. These are for 8.5 by 11-inch sheets. I'm going to cut these up to make the little see-through inserts, the little flaps where I can keep the tiny little pieces of memorabilia that I don't want to lose. Or you can also use an envelope to do this if you prefer. So let's get started. I'm going to make the first section, and I've taken my first piece of scrapbook paper and I'm going to score. So with the top of your scrapbook paper along the top edge of your scoreboard, you score at 5 7/8 of an inch. So that's just before the 6-inch mark on my scoreboard. And then again at 6 1/8. So that's going to give me that 1/4 inch gap when I fold my page. Then I flip this around so that the top is on the side of my scoreboard, and I score at 9 inches, and that's going to form the pocket. Now I'm ready to fold my paper. I'm going to fold it so that the good side, or the side that I want to be visible, is going to be inside the pages, because this section here is going to be attached to the next section, so it's going to be hidden. So I want my pretty paper side up, and I'm going to fold along the score lines. And then the pocket along the bottom folds up like that. Now here where you can see the 2 score lines, I'm going to trim this off. It's easier to see on this side. So I'm going to cut along the score line right up to the horizontal line, and the same thing here. Like that. So that will allow me to fold up the pockets and to close the section, and there's my little 1/4 inch gusset. So next I'm going to attach this to another section. So I'm going to prepare my other section the same way. So this is going to be the page that will attach to my first one. Nine inches. And again, I want this pattern to be visible, so I'm going to fold in like that. So you can go ahead and score and trim all of your pages the same way. I'm just going to do these two for now, so I can show you how to assemble them. So here's my first piece. The back of this one will attach to the back of this one. So they're going to be flush like that. Now I think before I do that, I'm going to want to have a little opening up here that will make it easier to pull out whatever I stick inside this pocket. So I'm going to grab my circle punch, and I'm going to mark with the pen the center of this piece. And the center here is from the second score line. It's 2 7/8 of an inch. So 2 7/8. So this is the middle here. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I want it centered as much as possible. So I'm going to punch a circle or a semicircle. Oops, 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 oops. There we go. And I'll do the same thing to this one. So 2 7/8. Okay. Now, if you don't want to make the plastic insert, you don't have to. You can just go ahead and attach these pages together now, but I'm going to want to insert my plastic before I attach these pages. So I'm going to take a piece of my plastic page protector, and you can cut these to whatever size you like. I'm going to make one that's a longer one, so I'm going to remove this section here, and I'm going to keep the part that's sealed. So I'm just going to remove this white piece. I'm going to cut this in two. This measures 11 inches, so I'm going to trim this at 5.5. Yeah, 11 inches. So I'm going to cut in half at 5.5 inches, like that. When I attach that inside my folder, my album, I can either have this edge appearing on the inside, or if it's like this one where both ends are open, I can zigzag stitch down the side, or using my sewing machine, or just stitch down. You can also glue it with two-sided tape. I like stitching because it's solid, it won't come apart. And on the other side that's not sealed, well, that's going to be inside between the two sections anyways. And I'm also going to stitch these together, so it doesn't matter that one end is left open. Now the other thing that you can do is you can cut these to whatever height you like. So if you wanted your envelope to be only this tall, maybe I'll go ahead and do that with this one. So let's say I want this one to measure about up to here. I'll just put that in my trimmer. And I will then attach it like that. Or I like having the zigzag look on the side of my my plastic when I'm stitching these in. So I'm just going to attach that in, and it's going to go like that at this height. So let's go ahead and prepare the 2 pages for assembling together before I put these in there. And to do that, I'm going to use some two-sided tape. And I'm just using the narrow tape. I'm going to put some two-sided tape along the left edge and the bottom. I'm not going to go all the way to the end because I'm going to be stitching down anyways. And I find if I put some tape there and I stitch over, it's going to gunk up the needle of my machine. So I'm going to put some tape along the left edge. And then down the bottom, up to about 1/4 inch from the end. Now I can position my 2 pieces together like that, and make sure they're nice and straight. And I'm going to start by removing a little bit of the tape backing here. Then I remove the piece on the side. So now my 2 pages are attached on the left and the bottom. And now if I wanted to just leave this plain, I could go ahead and put some two-sided tape as well on this side and tape it, and then tape my pockets. But I like to stitch. I like the look of the zigzag stitching, and I also like the strength when I'm adding this plastic insert. So I'm going to position my insert so that it's going to be centered like that, and then this is going to slide in just like that, and I'm going to measure about 1/4 inch in. Now you could put a very tiny little piece of tape just to help hold this in place. I think I'm going to do that. Just a very small piece, shouldn't cause too many problems. to open this up flat, makes it easier. Like that. And I'm going to stitch from here on down. And now I'm going to attach the ends of my threads. When I stitched this, I didn't go back and forth at the beginning and at the end because I don't want to punch too many holes in one area of my paper. So I just started stitching right away, went all the way down, and I'm just going to tie this by hand. Again, I'm going to fold in my plastic. I think I'm going to zigzag down this side too. And I'm just going to score down here. Of course, the plastic doesn't score as easily as the paper, but it still holds its shape. I'm going to stitch down here, and when I'm doing that, I'm also going to open this up like that. So there's my first pages stuck together. I'm going to stitch down this side as well. This isn't attached to anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a zigzag stitching, and it's going to seal this pocket at the same time. So here's my stitching on the left, and also I stitched the edge of my piece of plastic. I could have stitched along the bottom too. I just left that like that. Okay, so now as for these flaps here, you can either tape those down or you can just leave them like that if you prefer. I'm going to leave them for now, and if I decide later, I can always tape them down. So I'm ready to attach the third section to this piece, and this is my piece that I cut, scored, and folded, and I punched my little insert here. Now this is going to attach like this, the same way as I did for the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and put my two-sided tape along here and the bottom edge. And again, I'm going to stop about 1/4 inch from the edge. Lift up a bit of this tape backing, and I can join these together. So now I'm going to stitch down this side, and I'm going to put an insert in here again. Now if you wanted to, you could use an envelope instead, you could just trim the opening here, leave a little bit of a border, and then when you stitch that like that, the envelope can close over like that. So you can use a variety of materials to make your pocket. But I'm going to use my piece of plastic again, and I'm going to use this piece, and this time I'm going to leave it the full length, and I'm going to have it so that it loads in from the side. So I open the side and I'm going to position that in here, and I think again I'll use a very tiny little piece of tape. And I'm going to stitch down. So here's my long plastic insert, and my pages are stitched together. So now I'm going to stitch the rest of my pages together. This one will look pretty, I think, with this nice envelope that I have with the floral pattern on it. So I'm going to attach this envelope between my pages like that, and it's going to open like this. So I'm just going to trim off about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to attach that between my pages when I stitch them together.